Dark Souls 3 is just around the corner. Alleged to be the final installment in the series, this Phantom Crash Course will tell you all you need to know about the series and get you up to speed faster than you can say, "God damn it, I totally dodged that." When Demon's Souls appeared in 2009, it quickly established itself as a cult hit. Its unrelenting difficulty and complete lack of handholding defied every assumption about good game design, but appealed strongly to hardcore gamers. 2 years later, Dark Souls arrived, a spiritual successor that was a loose sequel in all but name. Sony had exclusive rights to the Demon's Soul IP, and Namco Bandai was looking to publish on 360, hence the new name. Dark Souls reboots Demon's Souls setting and characters to a place called Lordran, a gothic fantasy world filled with dragons, zombie-like hollowed, monsters, corrupted knights, and more. As before, the player is dropped in with a bare minimum of explanation and can easily be defeated by even basic enemies. The game uses failure as a tool rather than just punishment, asking them to learn from their mistakes or die trying. The story is primarily told through item descriptions, NPC dialogue, and environmental storytelling, leaving it up to the player to piece together what's happening. A special note about Dark Souls lore: there are many fan theories out there and only the loosest of details are universally agreed upon. The condensed version is that the player, and most of humanity, now bear the Dark Sign, a mark that curses them to be reborn again and again until they go hollow and lose their mind. The player is eventually identified as the Chosen One and must reclaim 4 Lord Souls from 4 bosses: Gravelord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, the Bed of Chaos, and Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. It is implied that the player is the descendant of the furtive pygmy, bearer of the 4th Lord Soul. At the game's end, the player chooses to usher in either the Age of Dark, which is an age of humanity, or the Age of Fire, an age of the gods. Dark Souls 2 takes place in Drang Lake, many years after the events of the first game. Vendrick, king of Drang Lake, marries a woman named Nishandra who suggests Vendrick attack an army of giants who she fears are planning an attack. Vendrick's forces are successful and capture several giants, but the giants counterattack and lay waste to Drang Lake. It's revealed that Nishandra is actually a shard of Manus, father of the Abyss, and Vendrick is played into the trap. In order to protect the Throne of Want, a powerful seat that grants whoever uses it the power of the true monarch, Vendrick locks himself in the undead crypt with his closest advisor and the key. The player is then used as a pawn in order to further each character's agenda. Dark Souls 3 takes place in a new kingdom, Lothric. The player is tasked with breaking the cycle of light and dark ages once and for all by battling previous heroes who have linked the fire. Who those previous heroes are exactly remains to be seen, but we have a feeling we'll be seeing some familiar faces. Or, helmets. Gameplay-wise, Dark Souls 3 retains the core mechanics of the previous games, allowing the player to switch between their hollowed and unhollowed forms by consuming humanity. The traditional stamina bar returns, as does magic, but instead of the fixed number of magic uses between bonfires of previous games, the game utilizes a magic point bar more similar to Demon's Souls. Interestingly, this bar is shared with Battle Arts, a new combat mechanic. The player has access to a weapon-type specific special attack called Battle Arts that change depending on your stance, whether you're dual-wielding, whether you're carrying a shield, and other factors. The game is billed as being more fluid than its predecessors, with several player movements and attacks being faster than before. Not quite the speed of Bloodborne, but close. Most notably, the general speed of bows have been greatly increased, improving its viability as a main weapon. While Light, Dark, and Flame have been main themes of the previous games, Dark Souls 3 adds Ash to the mix. While it's not clear what role it will have, players will have a separate Ash Estus flask used to refill their magic and battle art energy bar. Bosses will have what's being called a heat-up mechanic, in which as their health lowers, they enter different phases, changing their attacks and in some cases transforming completely. From a technical standpoint, the game is now running at 30 frames per second, which may be a letdown to some players who prefer the 60 frames option. PvP will fortunately feature dedicated game servers and soul level matching to ensure a more balanced PvP experience. Parries, backstabs, and kicks all also return, allowing you to break down your opponent's defenses and punish players and enemies who attack too wantonly. That's it for this crash course. Make sure to check out darksouls.wikia.com for more information about the game, and make sure to check out fandom.com for the latest videos and other Dark Souls 3 content.